Hello, Seiiti Arata, and take a look at this drawing for a second. Now, please take a pen and a small piece of paper, okay? Alright, so now imagine the following situation. This drawing that you just saw has a curse that causes sudden death exactly 1 month after looking at it. And this curse only affects a small portion of the population, and therefore the chance of you dying after seeing this drawing is of 1%. Now let's continue our imagination exercise. Imagine now that there is a magic potion that serves to remove the curse. And I have 1 dose of this antidote, which will be available, of course, only to the person who offers the greatest amount of money here in the comments. So the question is, what is the maximum amount that you would be willing to pay to receive the healing potion? And if you don't have money, just imagine that you can borrow money without any interest, and you can pay from your salary for several years ahead. In other words, money is not a problem. The question here is not how much you have available to pay for the cure. The question is, how much would you be willing to pay? Please write down how much would you pay in scenario number 1. Ready? Okay, now imagine the scenario number 2, which is quite similar but with a few differences. Just forget scenario number 1 for a while. Imagine that I tell you that I have a hidden drawing that you have not seen yet. And it is a drawing with a curse that has 1% of chance of killing you. Now, the question I need you to answer is, what is the minimum amount of money that I would need to pay you to take a look at the picture? How much would you need to volunteer yourself and be exposed to this risk? So please write down the answer and let's do something quite interesting, which will serve a little bit like an experiment here in YouTube. Please use the comments here and tell us your answers to questions in scenario number 1 and scenario number 2. Please don't read the reply of other people right now, okay? You should not be influenced by the comments of other people, by the opinions of others. Please write here on YouTube the answers that you wrote in your piece of paper. Ready? First, you can breathe calmly because this drawing has no curse at all. It is just an imagination exercise in order to understand something very interesting that behavioral economists have been studying. And there is a link here if you want to learn more. Using purely logical or economic reasoning, the answer to the 2 scenarios should be about the same. In the first scenario, you stated the price that you're willing to pay to remove 1% of risk. And in the second scenario, it is the price that you would charge to be exposed to the 1% risk. So at the end of the day, what we are asking here is the price that you assign to a fatality risk of 1%. However, the current theories of behavioral economics tell us that people have very little motivation to remove an existing risk, which is scenario number 1, but they're quite willing to give up big gains to avoid exposure to risks, which is scenario number 2. This is what we call loss aversion. Perhaps you've heard that the pain of losing is more intense than the pleasure of the gain. And what does that mean in your life? What decision did you avoid taking, maybe this year, because there was a chance, however small, that things might go wrong and you would regret it? Maybe you're not willing to take a risk to reap big gains in the future. Because of this loss aversion, you might prefer to go on with life the way it is rather than tolerate a small chance of failure in the future. How many nasty problems already exist in your life that you do not mobilize to solve? Where are you accommodating these problems? In what areas are you unwilling to invest in order to improve? Of course, we want to avoid risks, especially fatal risks, makes perfect sense, but we should want to avoid risks in an intelligent way. And in today's video we see that it does not seem very consistent to pay one price to remove an existing risk and to charge a very different amount of money to be willing to be exposed to the very same risk. For example, let's say a person would pay a maximum of 2,000 for the antidote, but would only accept to be exposed to that risk for 1 million. And this is a classic problem of irrationality motivated by psychological forces. And remember, in the exercise we said money is not a problem because you can borrow money at no interest. So money was not a problem at all. Vilfredo Pareto says that the basis of all social science is psychology. And one day we may all realize that it is possible to deduce the laws of social science from psychology. So I always recommend to anyone who's interested in improving, for example, their financial situation, to begin by studying psychology and explore the way we make decisions. And that's what we do exactly in our course on financial enrichment. You can click this link to learn more on arata.se/4 horsemen.